And we'll get going tonight with our process. Now, killer sense of humor. The way that, and if there are any other newcomers to the channel since we took a break from D&D to review Pathfinder, in this random process, we do not, we don't build the characters as the PHB suggests. And you'll see why and how. Everything kind of has a flow to it. Because as we build the characters, I want it to be a step-by-step progression. As we pull details from the ether, and we slowly make a two-dimensional silhouette, and then a three-dimensional silhouette, and then we modify and add different, mentalities and physical textures and details. Yes, Killer. Answer as yourself. As you, as Killer Sense of Humor, as a presumable human, but look, on the internet, no one knows that you're a dog. No one. So you could be a dog for all I know. Pardon, a hiccup, or a cat. But yeah, answer as you. See how this test processes you through a D&D filter. Yeah, I think, though, do you tend to remember most things? Is it photographic or an eidetic memory? If you have a really, really, really good memory, then I think you're safe to put that. You're a physicist, Cat? Gotcha. Which I think is appropriate because cats really like to test and bend and explore physics. Especially with that whole if I fits, I sits principle. Alright, so let's roll a D100 and discover, do we have a female character, male character, or a multi-class character? 1 to 45, 46 to 90, 91 to 100. 28. Alright, so we have a female character. And now, instead of the 9 traditional races, I'm going to roll a D4, and we will consult the Races of Ravnica Unearthed Arcana PDF. 2. That is a Simic hybrid. A female Simic hybrid who is of the alignment, and we're going to roll 2D100 on our distribution curve here. 8936. So we have a neutral evil character. All right, a neutral evil female Simic hybrid of level, and we're going to go back to 1D100. We rolled a 23, and so that's level 7. That means we're going to get 1 ability score increase, ASI, or a stat bump at level 4. I'm going to roll a D100 and find out, are we going to take the stat bump, or are we going to take a feat instead? With a 13, we're going to take the stat bump. Hey, DJ Delta. Alzi, I hope you're doing better than Schrodinger's one. That guy seemed to be having good and bad times. Oh, wow. DJ, you are opening up with an epic tonight? Can you defeat the dreaded reflection of yourself? Only a 19 or greater can defeat it. You attack with disadvantage. And unfortunately, you can't. Yes. So Nega DJ Delta, or evil DJ Delta, or good DJ Delta? I don't know what your alignment is. You haven't taken the test yet, DJ. Unfortunately, this reflection of yourself bested you. And there can be only one. Alright, now, let's take a look-see with a D13, which background our character will have. Yeah, sure, DJ. It's the one that we have in our Discord going. I'll repost the link here for you. It may seem like a lot of questions. They go quickly. Answer as yourself, though. Don't answer as a character. Answer as yourself, and let the test kind of put you through a filter to see what kind of a D&D character you would make based on your personality. And we're rolling our D13. 5. Ooh, a neutral evil folk hero. Alright, now, there are 10 different sort of origins or types of folk heroes in the player's handbook. I'm going to roll a D10 also. 9. So we are folk hero number 9. What does that mean? I don't know what 9 is, and it's not important. We just need a placeholder right now. It's a variable in an equation. I will try and sound mathematically and scientifically more advanced than I probably actually am. And while we're at it, we're going to roll 2d8 to give her 2 personality traits. So personality traits 2 and 4. Next, we're going to roll 3d6 for the ideal bond and flaw. So we have 3, 5, and 4. Alrighty. And you'll notice... Thank you, Killer. Hey, I'm open to learning. You'll notice that we save the class for last. I mean, besides height and weight. And that's because I want to make sure that we're... It's so common to describe our character as, I'm an elven ranger. Or, or a male elven ranger. Or, I'm a, we go into race and class. I want to discover one aspect of the character at a time, and then take everything into consideration up to that point in our procedure of discovery. And so right now, speaking of Schrodinger's cat, right? This character is all classes simultaneously or no classes at all, until we observe the class that she'll end up being. We have a female, this kind of mutated, partial elven, partial human, partial Vidalcan. She's neutral evil, so she has this selfish streak to her, right? Because evil, again, does not have to mean you burn down orphanages and kick puppies in the street. Yes, you can do that, but it doesn't mean you have to. It's at least implying that she is very self-centered and will sacrifice others in order to achieve her goals because she sees them as superior to others. And she's some kind of a folk hero, so she's done something. Maybe she's like a... as much as I was railing on Disney a little earlier, I don't know if I was railing, but I was showing my discontent earlier in Discord. You have a character like Gaston from Disney's version of Beauty and the Beast. He's a folk hero to everyone, right? He's an accomplished hunter. He fought in a war or something like that. Everyone knows him, loves him. Everyone wants him and wants to be him. But he's very self-centered. And we could probably think of other heroes, villains, anti-heroes like that. So this is the character that we're making. And now that we have this ball of clay and we're slowly molding her into a shape, let's find out how she expresses everything that she has been so far. Yeah, DJ. Yeah, there are laws are different throughout different lands, and you can follow the law. In fact, this is what, look, as someone who has a master's in this, so it's maybe a softer science than what Killer has a degree in. But I have my bastard's degree. Curse you! I have my master's degree in executive business management. And so, we're studying economics, we're studying management skills, statistics, a lot of things like this in order to be better decision makers, which is a very, basic explanation of what we were doing. And one of the big problems that we confronted, it's probably every business school probably has to teach this, if not by law, then just by reputation, is the case of Enron and, of course, the big collapse of WorldCom and all these other businesses, which were acting unethically, but in some cases they were still technically legally operating. They were just making unethical decisions. And you know what? As a gamer, as a tabletop gamer of board games or especially role-playing games, really what that boils down to is something called the Munchkin Fallacy. Are any of you familiar with what the Munchkin Fallacy is? Haha, Alzy. Although, you know, well, not maybe not law. I would like to actually get my doctorate degree in behavioral economics. It's something that it really interests me. It's something I think I could do very well at pursuing. So I would need to find a place that can confer such a degree, and make the time and life circumstances to occur so that I could earn it. Is that what the board game Munchkins means? Well, so Munchkin is a tabletop game that is derived from role-playing games. And the term Munchkin has a special place in our hearts as tabletop gamers. Yeah, exactly. Alzy's got it. So this DJ here us old folks will educate you some, okay? The Munchkin Fallacy goes as follows. I can because the rules don't say that I cannot. Does that make sense? I can because the rules don't say I cannot. And so this is where we dovetail into what Alzy said, where that's you know, it's like an older term for a power gamer. It's someone who's looking for every opportunity, both within the boundaries of the rules and outside the boundaries of the rules, because you make the argument of, well, the rules address this specifically, but there is no rule to address this over here. Therefore, because there are no rules to address this new concept, this outside idea, this is also a part of the playground that we can fully exploit, explore, etc. Because legally, rules as written, R-A-W, rules as written, not R-A-I, rules as intended, there's no law saying that we can't. And so this gets a lot of people and companies in trouble. And so I had a blast in my master's degree class when I'm explaining this it's a common, uncommon term in the gaming world that, you know, a lot of we, you know, before I received my degree, I was but a mere plebeian, you know, wallowing in the muck of ignorance. You know, this is a common tabletop term. And they understood. And all throughout the course, so any of you, by the way, who are in any sort of higher education, I was able to continuously make gaming allegories and other comparisons between everything people learn at a basic level in RPGs and board games and such, to this higher learning that we were getting. And so that's actually a mark of pride that you should have. And that's why I also continuously say, if you play enough RPGs, you play enough tabletop games for long, you might as well earn a bunch of honorary, at least associate's degrees in economics, sociology, psychology, philosophy, heck, maybe even some of the harder sciences, math and physics and such, because you're exploring history and culture. You play tabletop games long enough, you'll get all of these effective honorary associate's degrees, if not more. Especially if you're inquisitive and you investigate things. Geography, geology, astronomy, astrology, religion. Alzy, Airbud was a munchkin. The rules never said a dog couldn't play basketball. There you go. You got it, Alzy. it was just implied that it was a very species-centric organization. DJ Delta, somewhat. It's like I can always be crawling along the dungeon halls 1 foot at a time while always checking for traps, taking a step. Alzi, can a corporation fully fulfill its purpose without being unethical, though? By the sheer rules of their existence, they must make money the most efficient way possible, which is seldom 100% ethical. And you're true. That is true. There is a fiduciary responsibility, especially if it's a publicly traded corporation. So there's kind of a gray area, right? Where your stockholders, and in fact, talking to several CEOs that were sort of adjunct professors for the program, anytime the board of directors got together to change policy or to, set some course, they always had lawyers on hand because doubtless they would be sued by 6 or 7 different lawyers trying to test this new policy, saying that the clients, it was always on behalf of the shareholders, by the way. Or it would be like a minor shareholder that wanted to sue and get money to become a major shareholder. And of course, they're always willing to take a settlement too, by the way. So yeah, they're willing to step up and sue, and if not take a settlement, that you are violating the fiduciary responsibility of the company by making some sort of a policy change that might not, min-max. You're not care-opping your corporation. But if you have... if you have covered yourself, if you have documentation, if it shows that, decisions weren't just made by one person at the top or in some sort of vacuum, you can have some leeway, right? You can say, well, this is the motto of the company. This is the direction we're going. And so if you use some broad terms like, we want to be we're putting our company on a sustainable path. And you are using the word sustainable in a purposely vague sentiment that gives you some wiggle room. Because then if someone challenges you, and by the way, this is some quick and dirty stuff. I am not a lawyer, etc., so forth. Then you can say, well, no, all of our investors know that we're shifting to a sustainable model, or whatever, an organic model, or come up with some quick and dirty term. We're shifting to an ALSI model, and we can have ALSI be an acronym for some sort of business concept. We published everything. We sent notifications out to our shareholders that we're moving to the ALSI B method, whereas before we were using the ALSI A method, and so we're going to be making decisions that are going to take us in this direction. Because think of this too. A lot of charities also give to, a lot of corporations give to charities, which does, it has tax advantages, but that is also money that is not being retained necessarily by the company, etc. and so forth. How about the Lorax movie with the maker of the Thneed deforested the forest? There was no real consequences for him, legally at least. I had not seen the Lorax movie, and it's been a while since I read the book, DJ, so I'll have to trust your judgment. This is all fully quotable, and I can use clips of this video in court. Got it. LZA, I hate that guy. So really, look, if you're covering your butt, and you're making announcements, you have documentation, other people have signed off on it, or you can demonstrate that it is, that you're doing something not for some ultimate good of the public, because you are presumably a private company. You'll probably, there will be lawyers who, what do they have to lose, right? They're going to try and sue you for, a settlement of, I'll just settle for $1 million and drop this case that you aren't meeting the fiduciary responsibility of the shareholders. So you will have to defend yourself. But I mean, look at, and this is maybe, this is a precautionary case or a precautionary tale. At the time, Google you know, when it had in its document, "Don't be evil," right? In its shareholders brochure, or in its corporate lingo and its culture, you know, it said "Don't be evil," 3 words, period. Which, by the way, they've discreetly dropped that phraseology from their documentation. But when you then have, when the pendulum swings the other way, and a corporate culture suddenly becomes too sensitive, too touchy-feely, too culturally nannying, it can become a problem. And Google is actually facing a lot of problems along those lines. Or you look at the, you know, if you look, and this is very good for D&D, let alone our own history. Whereas, you know, various regions and countries and whatnot had a religion as a moral center, and sometimes even a legal center for the citizenry of the lands. And as time has moved on, and we've either become more personally religious, or we've become more personally secular. In either case, we're not as, yes, it's, you know, it's a 24/7 pious display. We now have private companies that are stepping up, and they are trying to assert themselves as the churches of Eld have done, by setting a moral compass point, by enforcing... I mean, look at figures that maybe you agree or disagree with, that are getting their voices squelched on various platforms, like Facebook or whatnot, or Twitter or whatever. And I'm being completely apolitical, because I assure you, there's people on all sides of whatever issue that, you know, that you have a company, a private company, that's now telling you what is good to say and what's bad to say. You know, which thoughts are good thoughts and which thoughts are bad thoughts. And so, you know, as a modern person, oh, well, you know, we can't have a church tell us that sort of stuff. Instead, I'll rely on a church, a private church, but a church to tell us that. Because they're aiming themselves to be a social gathering point, a point of of morality, certainly a center of wealth and charity. And so it's meet your new boss the same as the old boss. And that can, and I think we'll see, is going to have more backlash as private companies continue to try and espouse to us what they think is right, even in the wake of private companies bankrupting, going bankrupt, and drawing, you know, retirement plans into oblivion and all this other stuff. Oh, well, we've learned our lesson. I mean, it's been like a whole 10 years since that, you know, I mean, it's been a little longer, but it's been a whole 10 years since that. Sorry, I got on a rant. We're supposed to be making Ravnica characters. Blisswoe is real. That's right, your evil twin. Hey, Cake Boss. Thank you for joining us in the middle of my rant. Oh, actually, you know what? It's not for the channel, but this is for Journeyman. Yeah, look at this. Oh, brother. There we go. Rant. Interesting to know, I'm a pretty dyed-in-the-wool socialist comrade, so I have ingrained aversion to corporations. Yes, Blizlow is real. I'm a pretty dyed-in-the-wool socialist comrade, so I have ingrained aversions to corporations. The backlash of companies with personal morals is happening already. And yeah, I look at it that way too. You know, family owned, it is a religious, it is, I mean, it doesn't enforce a religion, but, you know, it's privately held, and it is a religious family that does, and their decisions. So it's not just limited to, you know, giant tech firms like Apple and Google and, et cetera and so forth. Oh, Killer, just power through it, man. You got this. Get those last other ones, those last other questions pounded out. All right, so let's roll a D12 and figure out which class our female Simic hybrid folk hero is going to be. 3. Oh, we have a Cleric. Hey! You know what that means? That means we could have the death domain open to us because she's evil. Evil? And so, we are going to come up here to our very special alignment special rules section for a Cleric. It might seem arbitrary here, but I did assign different values. A Death Cleric is 1 to 70. Trickery is 71 to 80. Tempest is 81 to 90. And War is 91 to 100. I mean, can you have an evil life Cleric? Yeah, you can. These are just the ones that I thought were more thematic for a concept of evil. Let's roll a percentile and find out. 44. We have a Death Cleric, buddy. And lastly, but not leastly, we actually have to consult the PDF here to get some of these stats. Within the normal range of your humanoid base race. So we're looking at humans and elves. 4'8", 4'6". They both roll 2d10. And then 1d4 or 1d4, I guess. Okay. 2d4 or 1. Okay, so I guess we'll do... So on average, that would be, what, 2.5? And that on average would be 5. So then we'll just roll a... We'll roll a, I guess a d8. We'll start at 4'7". We'll add 2d10 inches. 14. So that's 5'9". And then we're going to take our 14 and multiply it by 1d6. 3. So we have 42 that we're going to add to a base weight of 100 on average. So 142 pounds. There we go. Hybrids begin their lives as adult humans, elves, or Vidalcan. They exhibit signs of slightly accelerated aging, so their maximum lifespans are probably reduced somewhat. But the Guardian Project has not been operating long enough to observe the full effects of this phenomenon. Righty then, I guess. I mean, we're averaging humans and elves together, I guess, but because it's all just sort of a big mix. So I guess we'll use what, dwarves as a age base, since they're a middle long term. So we're gonna roll a percentile and find out where in the life cycle this character is, because how many of you have played elderly characters or really young characters? All right, with a 41, we are an adult, and so let's take a look at dwarves. Or I guess what? A half-elf would really be, right? Human and elf. Haha. Adult is column 4 between 91 and 125. So that's a 35-sided die. We're adding 17. So 107 in adult at 107 years old. There we go. I guess we could have just used the half-elf height template, too. That's okay! Math! Math! Alzi, yes, one of those folk hero death priests. Must be a very metal community. We'll find out, won't we? This is the beauty of creating a character. Because by the assertion of your character into the world, he or she had to come from somewhere. And was influenced by something or someone. And so you're not just making a character, you're making a culture, a village, a society, a religion. There's so many other things that you can either extrapolate from your character or insert in the background to then be the focal point that manifests your character. Killer sense of humor is a chaotic neutral human wizard of 6th level. Hey, my fellow 6th level. Nice. Wow, pretty good, actually. Look at that. Nice. 20 int. Yeah, you blew my stats out of the water, Killer sense. But that's okay, I'm a monk, so, like, no magic you do can ever affect me. Okay, let's put this away. And you know what? Even before we get into what the race offers us, I want to start with the background. Chapter 4 in the PHB. And the reason being, your race is your race, right? You were born as you were born. When you're describing your character as an elven ranger, for example, does that convey the character? Does that convey who she or he is? So I want to start with the background because that is a necessary component in 5th ed. It's your character sits atop a stool of 3 legs: race, class, and background. So let's find out your character's character. How does she think? What does she think about, and why? Let's go to Folk Hero. It's going to flash a little bit in case any of you are sensitive to that. Here we go. That's what rope is for. Maddie with the classic playground defense. I have a force field, so you can't kill me. Yes. You know, just because I'm proficient in all saves, and just because I'm you know, I have excellent, like, I can't be charmed effects, and I have a dream that my class sheet will not be judged by the radness of its stats, but by the contents. Yes, Alzi, but by the contents of its character. This is why we start with our background. All right, so being a folk hero, you get animal handling by default. Wisdom, here we go. And survival. One type of artisan's tools and land vehicles. So we'll think about, I don't know, what does she make? Was she doing a job of some kind, and then she was chosen to become this Simic hybrid? Equipment, we will get a set of our chosen artisan's tools. A shovel. An iron pot. A set of common clothies. And a belt pouch containing 10 gapuz. Alright, now this is where we understand what the number 9 means for Folk Hero. A celestial, fey, or similar creature gave me a blessing or revealed my secret origin. Okay, so what this is you're a wizard, Ari. You have some powerful supernatural creature that reveals your destiny to be a folk hero. So in this case, this says a celestial or a fey. You know, are we neutral evil? Well, fey can, you know, they're on both sides. Celestial, I think, tends to be thematically good. If we want to even say it's a fiend, we can. If we want to stick with this concept of an elemental alignment. However, we are dealing with a Simic hybrids. In Ravnica, the Simics are blue-green and are elves and other kind of fey creatures that are melded and mushed together. It does sound like some kind of a fey would be involved. So maybe we can incorporate that as a part of her backstory, right? So some kind of a fey creature gave her a blessing, and you know what? What if... How auspicious is this? What if the blessing, what if she's a folk hero because she subjected herself to these Simic experiments and has come back? You know, she was given these upgrades free of charge to go back to her people, and that way it would foster It would foster goodwill among the populace that the Simic are really out to help, and that you too should subject yourself to grow extra arms or to become one of these experiments to improve yourself, to get better. And so what if she is a, she was chosen because, hey, if she's neutral evil, she's more selfish. She's probably a bit of an opportunistic person. We'll get into the details of her personality in a bit. But, hey, speaking of big corporations, we have this. We have the Simic Guild, or whatnot. They're looking for people like this, right? Who want to flaunt their power, like who want power and want to flaunt it. Hey, Pneumatica, welcome. Killer sense of humor. So basically, anyone with high int is always a wizard. Weird. You think that mean that that you can pick? We could take the final results with a grain of salt. Killer sense of humor. Because I don't know about you, it says that lawful good in my results. It said lawful good is the best alignment because it combines like selflessness and compassion or something. Like lawful good is not the best alignment you could be. Pneumatica, you're a little spacey. Woke up with every health thing going wrong, so if I don't make sense in chat, that's why. All right, Pneumatica. Well, hopefully we can help you rest or feel better. I'm sorry. It sounds like you lost your Saturday. But stick with us. I know what it's like, and I know the power of being able to just sort of tune into someone on Twitch in the background, if you're feeling blah. You're not self. No. I was saying the lawful good is part of the descriptor of what lawful good is. As a result, what? I have a cat over here. Why are you on... come back on this chair. Right? Let everyone see you. What's this right here? That's a chair too. You can hang out on the back of the chair. What's this? Eh? 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 Alright. Whatever. Alright, so background is rustic hospitality. I hope that you all do remember to try and invoke your background features. In this case, where she goes, because everyone knows her, they're willing to give her, food, lodging. They'll protect her if she's running from the law, as long as it's not going to put them in immediate danger. Rustic hospitality is a really good background feature. All right, now let's delve into her personality. 2 and 4. If someone is in trouble, I'm always ready to lend help. Maybe for a price or for a return favor. Because of how she expresses herself. And that's how I treat alignment in 5th ed. Your alignment is how in my opinion, is how your character expresses him or herself. Doesn't mean that she can't have lawful good thoughts. She can entertain those as possibilities. But but she expresses herself in this very kind of cold, selfish manner. And by the way, notice we don't have any ability scores on our character sheet. That's one of the last things that we'll be putting down there. Because kind of like what Alzi said, not the radness of your stats, but by the content of your character. Exactly. I want to build our character. I want to build our chassis before we drop the engine in it. But I want to make sure that we like the look of the character, that we know how it'll work, and then, once we put the engine in, everything will get power and work as intended. Pneumatica, sounds like the movie version of The Shadow. I've saved your life, now I own it. He intends only to do good things, but he expects a pay forward. Yeah, well, I mean, in this case, he's neutral evil, but so he probably expects repayment, or she in this case. And personality trait 4, I have a strong sense of fair play and always try to find the most equitable solutions to arguments. And you could say, well, wait a minute. How are we going to have a neutral evil character with this personality trait? what's fair play to her? Right? If we're two street fighters, and I don't mean the Capcom game, and we're a back alley trying to fight. Is fair play the realization that both of us know if we can find something in the alleyway to beat each other with, that's showing our resourcefulness and our, we're taking the environment into consideration? That could be a concept of fair play to her. Or the concept of fair play to dovetail into the first personality trait. I will intervene on your behalf. I'll be the neighborhood vigilante, but I want protection money. And that's fair. You're paying me to do a job, and I'm doing the job. Whereas other people might just be a vigilante for some, religious purpose, uplifting upbringing, or some kind of, sense of moral superiority. Maybe she wants to use the superpowers she was given by the Simics, but she wants to capitalize on it. And people don't mind paying her for the services, and so she is a bit of a folk hero. People understand, yeah, you know what? I'd rather be paying her to keep us safe than, some other crime lord moving in. Because at least she has our interest as a neighborhood at heart, and not just some, distant mob lord who does X, Y, or Z. And the most equitable solutions to arguments? This could mean that she's willing to apply... Well, how about this? So she goes in and she's trying to bust some criminals, and she finds someone in his home. Maybe he's threatened to burn down the local orphanage even, and he was spotted kicking a puppy in the street. Clearly, this man is evil. And so she says, I got to make sure you don't do this again, right? I have to be able to prove to people that this isn't going to happen. And so what I'm going to do is I want you to open up that that drawer in your nightstand. Okay, good, ready? Now, I'm going to give you your choice. You are going to put your hand in between the open drawer and the lip of the nightstand. You can choose. I'm being very fair. You can go left or right. And I'm going to kick the nightstand shelf closed. And we'll be even. I broke your hand, but I let you choose which hand you broke, because we understand that you did something bad, you burned down the orphanage, and how dare you kick a puppy. And I'm paid by my neighborhood to make sure that stuff like this doesn't happen. So what's it going to be? Left? Well, I guess this is left on screen. This is my right hand. So right or left? No, go ahead and choose. There you go. Now put that hand in. There we go. It'll be over quick. I promise. If you want to close your eyes or something, that's fine. Ready? 3, 2, 1. And you kick that nightstand drawer closed, and it shatters along his knuckles as his hand bends in half. There we go. I'm glad we could be civil and reasonable about this. It's actually a very equitable outcome. Alzi says, quote, why should the race always go to the swift, or the crossword jumble to the quick-witted? I say cheating is the gift man gives himself. Being natural storytellers, and that is our unique gift, yeah. That's why we always have to suspect it, Alzi. New Monica sounds like the movie version. Okay, no, we got that, and then I'm going down. Lol. Darn tootin', as long as it's to your advantage. Alzi says, you ignored the rules of engagement. I have killed you in a fair fight. Well, that's not much of an incentive for me to fight fair, is it? Killer, yes. I do. I DM an online game with members of our community on Tuesdays, and I have been playing a heads-up game for years and years and years and years. Running and playing. So here, this is how we've turned this sentence into an expression of someone who is evil. All right, let's look at her ideals. Number 3, freedom. Tyrants must not be allowed to oppress the people. Oh, snap. So looking at this ideal right here and everything we've built so far, remember, we're doing this step by step for this reason. I could have a spreadsheet just randomly generate content and parameters. There's a reason we do this step by step. For any of you who are into comics, with the character that we've conceptualized so far, and with this highlighted phrase, who might this remind you of? Hey, Rhodey, good to see you. And that might be very broad, so let's limit it down a little bit. Are you familiar with the Watchmen comic and hero team? Hey, Dark Wolf. Superman. Well, I don't like Superman for a host of reasons. But no, I don't think that that this would be under Superman here. This is starting to sound like a Rorschach character. Are you familiar with the Watchmen? Are you familiar with that character, Rorschach? Hey, Alzy knows. I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me. All right, bonds number 5. Hey, look at this. I protect those who cannot protect themselves for a fee. Right? So she's reasonable. She'll let the neighborhood pool their money. She's not going to ask a bunch of individuals. She just needs to know that every month she's going to get 100 gold pieces for her protection. Rhodey, you don't like Superman either? You're making it hard to watch you, man. Superman's my favorite. Because, Rhodium, you have a character who cannot die, is invincible in all circumstances, and it's a character who is a Mary Sue. Or, I guess, a Gary Stu in this case. He always wins. He never loses. He can't die. There's really no jeopardy that he can ever be in. And really, it's not just Superman, but Superman is the pinnacle of this thought, where DC Comics tends to have a lot of monolithic, godlike superheroes. Which I guess you could follow along and be like, oh, so this is how gods fight. Whereas I'm not turning this into a DC versus Marvel, especially because there's so many indie comics and other ideas outside those bounds. But Marvel has way more street level characters that are heroes or superheroes. Teamwork, you can tend to relate to Marvel characters in more ways than you can with the monolithic gods of the DC universe. But especially as it manifests, I mean, look, when Batman, whose superpower is being rich, is like the most street level character you have, I mean, that is saying something. And so I think a lot of people can better identify with Batman, which is a part of his popularity. But Superman, you're just watching, the adventures of God. How's God going to get out of this fix? Oh, what's God going to do in the face of a mere mortal trying to undermine his plan? I love it. Make a contract. Exactly, Killer. Alzy, a Necromancer Rorschach, 10 out of 10, would roll up again. Ooh, yeah, Necromancer Rorschach. One Crit Wonder, hey, good to see you. We're making a character through the races of Ravnica. We have a neutral, evil, female Simic hybrid, who is a Cleric of Death. And also a folk hero. And we're going through her personality. DJ, you just finished. True neutral human bard / hey, cool, multi-class. Ability scores, strength 9, dex 11, con 13. Okay. Superman started as a Mary Sue, but became an interesting exploration in the philosophy of being a god. Doc Manhattan is a... Yes, exactly, Alzy. Cake Boss says, I prefer IDW G1 Transformers. They made a show meant to sell toys in a fantastic comic series that makes you attached and isn't afraid to kill them off either. I can appreciate a good character death. Pneumatica, a roguish subclass of the monk would make a perfect Rorschach. Yeah, so something like a Way of Shadow monk, maybe? Or you could simulate it, because he uses like the hairspray in the match or whatever. You could be a Way of the Four Elements, right? Because he has the grappling hook and he has the other stuff like that you could simulate through your Avatar: The Last Airbender powers. The flannel pug is here! And just in time to see us give a flaw to our character, because we are all flawed characters. Number 4. I have a weakness for the vices of the city, especially... Now this is hard drink, especially X. Given the character we've developed so far, chat, would hard drink be a vice for this character? What would be some kind of a city vice that our character would have? So is multi-classers in the test rare? I couldn't tell you offhand, DJ. Rhodium, I don't like him for those reasons. I always related to him because I was different from everyone around me. I was stronger than everyone around me, and people feared me without getting to know me. I always lived fearing I would become something that would justify the unwarranted fears of the people around me. I also relate to the Hulk, who is my second favorite. Rhodium, have you read Superman Red Sun? I thought that was an interesting take on Superman. One Crit Wonder is a flawed character. Pneumatica, or just a monk subclass that has improvised weapons specialty. With some stealth and intrusion, you basically got Rorschach. Killer Sense, I was related to Tony Stark minus the armor. Yeah. All right, so we need to give her some kind of a city flaw. All right, I have a weakness for the vices of the city. Does she indulge in some kind of drugs, whether it's alcohol or skooma or something else? Does she like pleasures of the flesh? Is she a glutton? Does she eat a ton? You know, she uses, maybe she's collecting money from people in this protection racket, and then she goes to the highfalutin restaurant and orders meals that the rest of the neighborhood, they would have to put their money together in order to afford. Yes, Cake Boss, characters that are flawed are way more interesting. I wholly agree. Wholly agree. All right, now that we have her background established, let's look at what she is, who she is as per her creation as a Simic hybrid. Okay. Our con increases by 2, and another ability score of our choice increases by 1. Probably going to be Wisdom, given the fact she's a cleric. Her cynical outlook reminds me a bit of Jessica Jones. She might be an alcoholic. Yeah, that could be. Yeah, speaking of street-level heroes, right, Alzy? All right, so we'll come down here, and so she does have a weakness for the vices, and it doesn't just have to be, you know, she's not limited to alcohol, but especially hard drink. She gets crunked after breaking people's hands in nightstands. That's how she celebrates. Age, alignment, size. We are a medium creature. Our base speed is 30 feet, giving us a 15 climb, 15 swim, and a 0 fly. We're not fly at all, no matter how high our charisma score is. We do have dark vision out to 60 feet. Gold Public, thank you very much for that host. Now, we're going to get 2 animal enhancements, okay? Because we've gone through a series of mutations. Your body has been altered to incorporate certain animal characteristics. You choose one animal enhancement now and a second enhancement at level 5. At first level, choose one of the following options. Manta Glide. Your ray-like wings can slow your fall and allow you to glide. When you fall and aren't incapacitated, you can subtract up to 100 feet from the fall when calculating falling damage, and you can move up to 2 feet horizontally for every 1 foot you descend. So here we go. Killer sense of humor. We get physics. And you know what? If we're in an urban setting, kind of like how it sounds like we're discussing for her, having Manta Glide might not be so bad, right? She gets the Batman glide down. She can do these superhero things. Or we can give her Nimble Climber. You have a climbing speed equal to your walking speed. So instead of climb 15, it's climb 30. Or we can give her Underwater Adaptation. You can breathe air and water, and you have a swim speed equal to your walking speed. I have heard of the Anita Blake series, but it's, yeah, Necromancer Private Detective. Pardon. I write a character that wants to be Superman but acts like the Hulk by reflex because that's how he's raised to be. So I don't write gods as my main character, though there are legends said to be as powerful as gods in my story, and the story is about the cultivating of my main character's legend, though he's a regular human in a world of mages. Yeah, climb and swim are usually half movement, but we can take an adaptation that would give us full. I'm kind of digging the Manta Glide, right? So she has on her arms like manta ray flaps that would allow her to slow fall and also to glide. For every 1 foot down, she goes 2 feet forward. And so what I want you to do at home, I want you to calculate the hypotenuse of her trajectory, okay? Come on now. Let's give her Manta Glide. Now, also, if the gravity on Ravnica is the same as Earth's, we need to calculate certain thresholds, and of course, this is going to get added into her fall damage and other things like that. Exactly, DJ. She can glide 200 feet if she first climbs up 100 feet, but that doesn't tell me what the hypotenuse is. Alzi, a trench-coated businesswoman working with death, and under the coat are gills and leathery manta flesh. Hey, yeah, I came here for Maddie, not Matthew. Alzi, you want... There might be something more under that trench coat, buddy. You ready? At level 5, we get to choose one more mutation. We can give her grappling appendages. You have 2 special appendages growing alongside your arms. Choose whether they're both claws or tentacles. Each of these appendages is a natural weapon, which you can use to make unarmed strikes. If you hit with it, the target takes bludgeoning damage equal to 1d6 plus your strength modifier, instead of the bludgeoning damage normal for an unarmed strike. Immediately after hitting, you can try to grapple the target as a bonus action. These appendages can't precisely manipulate anything and can't wield weapons, magic items, or other specialized equipment. Or, we can mutate a carapace onto her. Your skin, in places, is covered by a thick shell. You gain a +1 bonus to AC when you're not wearing heavy armor. Or lastly, we can give her acid spit. As an action, you can spray a stream of acid from glands in your mouth, targeting one creature or object you can see within 30 feet of you. The target takes 2d10 acid damage unless it succeeds on a dexterity saving throw against a DC equal to 8 plus your constitution modifier, plus your proficiency bonus. This damage increases by 1d10 when you reach 11th level and 17th level. And we can also speak Common and Elvish. Dun, 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 dun. Rhodium, death reigns from above. My vote is Acid Spit. You know, so with the gliding and everything, she's almost kind of like an alien, right? She hangs out in the rafters. She's this cleric of death. She has Acid Spit. Alzi thinks that Carapace is simple but cool. Now here's the question, though. One crit. Hey, thank you. Okay, so we don't get heavy armor proficiency, which means that we could use the Carapace. We can always use the Acid Spit. Anyone else have an opinion about how we would like to mutate this character? Do we want to give her a second set of arms? Do we want to give her Acid Spit? Or do we want to give her a Carapace, like this leather armor I'm wearing? I have one vote for Carapace, and I have one vote for everything. All right, anyone going to be the tiebreaker out? Oh, yeah, Rhodium wants the Spit, One Crit wants the extra arms, and Alzi wants the Carapace. So, what's it going to be? As we have this folk hero enforcing for a price the laws of the neighborhood. One vote for each. It looks like a fight to the death. But with slow swimming and I have a scientific keyboard to answer your question. Oh, okay. I could just roll a 1d3, I guess. That we'll go with a neutral arbitrator here. All right, here's our good old-fashioned three-sided die. 1 is Grappling Appendages, 2 is Carapace, and 3 is Acid Spit. And so here is our hero. 3. 1 crit changes your vote for Spit, and you made a powerful enemy today. 1 crit. Yeah, you got to watch out, because not only... 1 crit, not only is Alzi B going to come after you, we don't even know what Alzi A is going to do. But then you have to... but then you have Bislo to contend with. Bislo is a more red version of Alzi B. I make power enemy every day. Get your butt in line. Alright, so we're going with the Acid Spit. Acid Spit. 30 feet. 2d10 acid damage. Dex of something. For half damage. Not autocorrect. I don't mean ducking. Nobody ever means ducking. All right. So we have our racial features now. We have this Manta gliding, acid spitting, evil folk hero, death cleric. Dun, 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 dun. And now we're gonna explore who she is by virtue of her class. Cleric. Now, despite being death, she gets all this clerical stuff, right? So let's look at level 7. Bing, 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 bing. 4-3-3-1 for her spell slots. 4-3-3-1. And we do get 4 cantrips known. 1, a 2, a 3, a 3. Hit dice. We're level 7, so we get 7d8 hit dice to spend to heal ourselves naturally. 7th level when we're a d8 hit die class. Light and medium armor, as well as shields for armor proficiencies. Light, medium, and shields. All simple weapons. No tool proficiencies. Oh, that reminds me. Which artisan tools should she be proficient in using? Is she an alchemist? Does she make smoke bombs? Do we want that? Is she a poisoner? You tell me. Is she a cobbler? Does she make shoes for poor kids? Or to sell, or both. Now, our skills: history, insight, medicine, persuasion, and religion. Well, let's see. Given her personality, tyrants must not be allowed to oppress the people. I protect those who cannot protect themselves. I have a weakness for the vices of the city, especially hard drink. If someone's in trouble, I'm always ready to lend help. I have a strong sense of fair play and always try to find the most equitable solutions to arguments. So probably persuasion, right? I'll let you choose which hand I break. And insight? Maybe persuasion and insight? Does that sound good to you? Do you want different skills? Let me know. I'm not married to these. House show makes... Either you all are just having absolutely horrible times with autofill, autospell, autocorrect, or we're having sort of like a hive-minded meme going on right now. Always breaking hands. Because it makes sure that they get the message, and they're a little less harmful in the future, but they're still alive. Neutral evil, donating shoes to orphans. I donate 5% of my stock. I'm only making money on 95%. But because I donate to orphans, I can mark up my prices by 15 and nobody complains because I'm such a good person. Charity really does reward itself. Oh, Pneumonica, yes. That's a... See? I don't think you were around for it, but we were actually talking about... ethical, like business, and when it comes to law and ethics. So that is actually, if you were not here for it, you're doing a very good job at just sort of like getting the drift and the attitude of what we're getting into tonight, Pneumonica. Oh, text-to-speech Google is having issues. All right, so we have a mace as our weapon. Scale mail. We're not proficient with heavy, so we're gonna have to go scales, which it kind of takes on its own thing with her, right? She doesn't have carapace, but scale mail. A light crossbow and 20 bolts or any simple weapon. I think, you know, look, if we're going for that whole Rorschach thing, let's give her a crossbow, and maybe she has like a grappling hook arrow that she can, or a bolt that she can use. Light crossbow. Therefore, she also has a quiver with 20 arrows. A priest's pack or an explorer's pack? I kind of like thinking that maybe she's doing this out of a religious sense. Like this is maybe a form of community service. Maybe she leaves a calling card everywhere that she goes. So if she does administer justice for a fee, maybe she leaves some sort of like an incense burning as her mark. Or some sort of a ritual candle, you know, at the spot of her vengeance. Priest's pack. And then she's going to get a shield, so we're going to fill in the little box up here. And a holy symbol. What would her holy symbol look like? It would probably look like whatever her superhero logo is, right? Because that's kind of what we have going on here. Which alignment has the orphans making the shoes as well? So Darkwolf, she has the orphans in a sweatshop making the shoes that she'll sell back to them from their wages in the sweatshop. But add Oprah's making shoes for charities. Grappling Hook A, Steampunk Alien Horror Batman Lady. Yeah, so what's her name, Elsie? we got to give her, like, what's her name or what's her superhero name? All right, now, as a cleric, we're going to be getting our Divine Domain, which we'll fill in here in a little bit. Let's see if we get anything else. Yes. Channel Divinity. Turn Undead. Which then actually turns into Destroy Undead. That are, let's see, CR 1/2. Now, I don't know if Death specifically does it. In prior editions, instead of Destroy, it was Rebuke Undead. And so they would actually cower in front of you instead of run away. And instead of destroying it, you'd actually be able to take control or command of the undead. If that's not in here, maybe we could make that happen. Divine Intervention. We don't have that yet. All right, so now let's see what she gets from her archetype, or in this case, her death domain. You're thinking something old-timey, Winifred? How about the Toxic Ray as the superhero name? All right, so everyone remember, we were using our standard array for our scores here. So let's try and get some of these together here. Killer offered a name. Can we pineapple pen it with? So how about this? How about Winifred? Malicia. Ooh, Mal. Mal is bad. Winifred Malicia. AKA the Corpse Whisperer. Maybe in some circles. Or, maybe she wants to call herself the Corpse Whisperer, but she's frustrated because she's a folk hero. Everyone calls her the Toxic Ray. And she's like, I don't want to be the Toxic Ray. I want to be the Corpse Whisperer. That's cooler. But everyone calls her the Toxic Ray, and so how can she argue? Because they're paying for her expensive dinners. And so she has a bit of a frustration. She wants to be the Corpse Whisperer, but she can't pick her own nickname. Yeah, it's the Toxic Ray! Can you not, please? Alright, she's going to get some domain spells. By the way, we are Cleric all the way, baby. We cast off of Wisdom, and we get our Chan div once per day. We get 4 cantrips. 1, 2, whoops. 3, 4. And we're at 4, 3, 3, 1. She is going to get, so here's Domain. These do not count against the number of spells she can prepare. False Life. Ray of Sickness. To be ironic, I was going to say we should give her all Ray spells, but look, Ray of Sickness, Ray of Enfeeblement. We should give her all the Ray spells to even, like, she realizes with excruciating, like, irony that her magic repertoire, I mean, it's a cleric, she can change it up, but even her domain is giving her Rays. Ray of Sickness, Ray of Enfeeblement. She is the toxic Ray, even though she wants to be the Corpse Whisperer. False Life, Ray of Sickness, Blindness, Deafness, and Vampiric Touch. No, wait. I'm sorry. No, this is Ray of Enfeeblement. Animate, Dead, and Vampiric Touch. Oh, shoot. I forgot. There we go. That sounds like a good ongoing joke for a comic book series. Mnemonica, even better. A running gag that people think she's male, but Ray is a male name. It can be feminine, and I didn't pick it. Yeah, Friend Computer's back now, Mnemonica. Maybe the superhero have a self-made logo that she made to try and look like a corpse whisperer, but the media first mistaken it as the Toxic Ray. So maybe... Oh, okay, so it was something like... paint. So maybe it was something like... this is going to be kind of a bad sketch here. So this is supposed to be a skull. And, I don't know, she was, like, trying to talk. So it was like her. And it was supposed to be like a shared mind, right? She's the Corpse Whisperer. Here. Oh, it's a skull. See the cracks? That's a dead thing. There's a little dangly bit. And so here's her. And this is what you get for making a complicated logo that people, you know, that people are seeing. So here, like, so this is supposed to be her, right? She's, like, communicating with the dead, and she's the Corpse Whisperer. But this kind of looks like a manta ray here. And it's like some sort of toxic, right? It's dripping. It's dripping, and there's stuff coming, like, out of the mouth. And so this is how we ended up getting, you know, we'll do a nice... The... Toxic... Ray... Alrighty. Our bonus proficiency gains proficiency with martial weapons. So actually, we can take that that warhammer if we want. However, I think we can have some other plans. So we have simple and martial weapon proficiency. We are going to get Reaper at first level. At first level, the cleric learns one necromancy cantrip of his or her choice from any spell list. So here we're going to go Death. When the cleric casts a necromancy cantrip that normally targets only one creature, the spell can instead target two creatures within range and within 5 feet of each other. We then also get Channel Divinity, Touch of Death. The cleric can use Channel Divinities to destroy another creature's life force by touch. When the cleric hits a creature with a melee attack, the cleric can use Channel Divinity to deal extra necrotic damage equal to the target. The damage equals 5 plus twice his or her cleric level. So I'm also going to do the cosmetic difference and call this Rebuke Undead. And she does get, at 7th level, this inescapable destruction. It's technically at 6, but 6 is within 7. Inescapable destruction. The cleric's ability to channel negative energy becomes more potent. Necrotic damage dealt by the character's cleric spells and channel divinity options ignores resistance to necrotic damage. So there we go. Chan Div once per day. Go back to the player's handbook, and I'll show you what I was going to do here for equipment, because a warhammer is... Warhammer is 15 gold pieces. We could instead consider giving her something equivalent. Like, you know, if we want to have her coming in with a warhammer, we can. Or we can give her something else, like a trident. Or we could give her a pike, like something with reach, if we really wanted to. Or we could give her something else versatile, like a longsword. Or a battle axe. Or, you know, or she could choose to, if she doesn't want to two-hand something, she can go one-hand. Do we want to be stereotypical and give her a scythe? Will she swoop in on her big manta ray wings, and, you know, holding a scythe in both hands? And then maybe with, like, a sickle and a shield on the other? And so she's a very stereotypical Reaper of Death or something? DJ, yeah, it does seem like everyone's kind of on board here. Come on, I need to get Strahd Epic, as he seems to be easy for me. And Aboleth, yeah. 12 and 10, and unfortunately... oh no, you have advantage. Nice. You just barely beat the Aboleth. Good job, DJ Delta. You get 4K. Yeah, so we could give her a scythe or something, Cake Boss, if we wanted to. She's a death cleric, but if we want to say that death comes in some other way, we could even give her the warhammer. And maybe it has her symbol. Ooh, how about this? What if we actually did give her the warhammer, and it has her symbol on... here, let's go over to it real quick. Right, so here's the front of our warhammer. Right, and we're making that kind of a whatever, and then it kind of boop, boop, boop. It goes down like this, and then we have our... And so what if she comes in, and she stamps, like, the mark of death on someone? With her warhammer, like, she smashes it into them. It's like the mark of Zorro. And so she can swoop down with her warhammer and her shield and on someone's face or their chest, or she can smash it into property and leave her mark. These are all options. All options, things to think about. All right, now we have a standard array that we're gonna drop in for her her things, her abilities. 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, 8. Yeah, exactly, DJ. And maybe because it's not stamping so well, everyone still thinks, oh, she's the Toxic Ray. You know, because of the whole whatever, there's like the little tail coming out and the little mind-to-mind thing. And they're like, oh, it's the Toxic Ray. And she's like, I'm the Corpse Whisperer. Yes, Starkwolf. She is a Simic hybrid. All right. Wisdom, probably her highest, because she is a cleric. And I think she's really going to get mileage out of her clerical spells. I think strength, because she is going to be a very combat heavy. Unless we really wanted to go something like 15, 14. Let's put 13. Charisma, 10 dex, and she's not the brightest box or crayon in the box. Maybe being mutated or having, you know, having this self-indulgence has, and especially her drinking problem, apparently. Her affinity for hard liquor might have influenced her her intelligence there. So if we do this and then we add her racial modifiers, so that'll be a 14 con and a 15 wisdom. What that'll do is with our stat bump we get at 4, and we're just shy of getting another one at 8. We can round up her strength to 16 and her wisdom to 16. Let me... There's not... See, the thing is, Darkwolf, a Simic hybrid is kind of a mashup of several races. Primarily humans, elves, and the race called Vidalcan. Now, you can find pictures of Vidalcan because they're a magic species. They're on a ton of different cards. So if you just think of, well, so it's a half-elf with these Vidalcan features. And Vidalcan traditionally have very bluish skin. They tend to have like tiefling eyes that are blue or purple. They don't have external ears, so that the sides of their head are flat. So I don't know how you'd kind of square that up, right? I mean, do they just have like little pointy nubbins if we're an elf, a human, and a Vidalcan? Now, we also mutated her, by the way. She has these like manta flap wings under her arms naturally. And she also has glands somewhere in her throat or mouth that she can, or maybe even her stomach, and she can projectile acid onto people. Alright, so if we go with this, that's a 3 strength, 0 dex, 2 con, -1 int, 3 wisdom, and 1 charisma. Can she have a mask at all? Because I found a picture that could be how she wanted to be known as the Corpse Whisperer, and her race skills got her known as the Toxic Ray. Maybe she wears a mask. Maybe she wears a mask. She uses magic. She wants people to see her face so that they know true fear. There could be a lot of different aspects of this character. Here. Let's do this. Alright, so Darkwolf, I want you to cross a human, an elf, and a link I'm going to send you. Yeah, you can post a link, Rhodey. Alright, so Darkwolf, a human, an elf, and that thing all get squished together. And it has manta ray wings growing as a part of its body. Oh yeah, like a plague doctor mask? Rhodium? Yeah, so Vidalcan, bluish skin, like solid eyes, no ears, kind of a spindly build, and then just pineapple pen that with an elf, a human, or maybe a half elf. One half elf, one half human, one half Vidalcan. What do you get? A Simic hybrid. Because they're all going to look kind of different. Because of the mutations and different aspects. Is the human part more prodigious than the elven, than the Vidalcan, etc.? Alright, now that we have this, let's... Oh, I forgot to mark our proficiency bonus at 7. Shame on me. I'm literally the worst broadcaster on Twitch. 3, okay. So, strength saving throw is going to be a 3. Athletics is 3. Oh, wisdom, by the way, wisdom and charisma are saving throw proficiencies. Dex is 0 down the line. Hey, it's not negative, right? We're just going to discreetly Control-C and Control-V all this other stuff here. Wisdom, however, 6, 6, 6, and 6 with a 3 and a 3 in between. Charisma is going to be 4 and a 4 with a 1, 1, 1. Her passive perception, 10 plus 3 is 13. That's her natural awareness, which isn't too shabby. Let's see. Her armor class, Scale Mail starts at 14 plus Dex, max 2. But she has a 0, so that's not really going to be much to worry about. So her armor class is 14, but because she's wielding a shield, her armor class is 16. Her initiative is 0, because that is a Dex check in 5th edition. Her hit points... DJ says, also the cleric used Holy Weapon to make a giant ice cream scooper to scoop the gelatinous cube that the party each picked up to scoop the slime into a cauldron. I really like that story and the way that the way that the players have interacted with that gelatinous cube. You get your maximum hit points from your hit die at 1st level. Then for the remaining 6 of our 7 levels, you go half plus 1, so that's going to be 5. Plus... For every level, so all 7, you get bonus hit points equal to your con modifier. So here's our complex math. You know, if you're on this killer sense of humor, we have a 14, we have a 30, so we have a 44, plus 8 is 52 hit points at level 7. When she hits with her warhammer, because we're proficient with it, she's swinging with a plus 6. And that's going to be 1d8 plus 3 bludgeoning damage. However, a warhammer is versatile and can be swung with 2 hands. So if she doesn't want to use her shield, 1d8 plus 3 or 1d10 versatile if she uses both her hands. A light crossbow, she is proficient, but it is only going to get a plus 3 because of her dex. I mean, if we want to put if we want to swap her dex and charisma, but look, do we need to power game this character? No, I think we're having a lot of fun with her. You know, she may not be the best at dexterity, but she's not super bad at it, and she has a lot of room to grow. Maybe she wants to put some, stat bumps into it later down the line. So this is going to be a 1d8 plus 0 piercing. But she's probably going to use that for her grappling hook anyway, so Alright, so we can go through and choose her cantrips. Spell selection is... I don't know if that's something we need to really worry about right now, as we have the character really fleshed out. Though her spell attack, we're going to calculate her wisdom, and she is proficient with magic, I'd hope so. So she's attacking with a plus 6. And to figure out the save DC versus your spells... You add 8, a static number, you add 8 to your attack. So her save DC is 14. Well, it dissolved the spoons we used to first try to harvest the living slime. Yeah, so to use the spiritual weapon, because it's energy, hopefully it wasn't able to do that. Alright, now, she can prepare... equals her cleric level plus her wisdom modifier. So that's 10. Right? She's 7th level with a plus 3 wisdom. So what that will do is, on top of her domain spells, which are always available, she can prepare 10 other cleric spells off the list. This was a plus 6 and a save DC of 14 for reference on the spell page. And every time she wakes up and she prays for her spells, she can split that 10 up. She could go 4-3-3. She could go 5-4-1. It's really up to you as the cleric. You have a lot of flexibility. Because you know every spell, you're just limited by the number you can prepare. So, alright. I'm going to get up and take a bit of a break. I had a blast making this character with you all. And maybe in part 3 or something, if we want to talk about her spells, or we can do so on the side in Discord. But here is Winifred Malicia, the Toxic Ray, aka the Corpse Whisperer. But I'm the... And we'll give her the little anime, like, bulging vein on the side there. But I'm the Corpse Whisperer. Alrighty. 10-minute break, everyone, and we'll come back and make our second Ravnica character to conclude this week of D&D alternative thinking.